Hi, I'm Mia from Chicago. Like and subscribe, and who knows, maybe one day when I'm a famous journalist, I'll give you an exclusive interview. So picture this: your best friend, your ride or die, the one person who knows all your secrets. Now imagine them gone. Poof, disappeared without a trace. That's what happened to me and my best friend, Ava. We were inseparable since third grade. We'd binge watch true crime documentaries and make dramatic predictions about who the killer was. "It's always the quiet one," Ava would say, pointing at the screen. I'd roll my eyes. "That's what they want you to think." We had plans, okay? We were going to solve real crimes one day. Ava would be the brilliant detective, and I'd be the hard-hitting investigative journalist exposing the truth. We were the ultimate team. Until one day, she was just gone. I showed up at school, and her desk was empty. No text, no voicemail, no post on her socials. I thought maybe she was sick, but after a week, I knew something was wrong. I went to her house, but it was abandoned, like fully emptied out overnight. No forwarding address, nothing. I asked the neighbors, and they all said the same thing. They left in the middle of the night, no warning. Weird, right? But it gets weirder. A few nights later, I got an email from Ava. No subject line, no message, just an address. And when I looked it up, it led to a tiny, rundown motel on the outskirts of town. So, obviously, I went. Now let's be real, I had zero self-preservation skills. But hey, a true journalist follows the story, right? I got to the motel, my heart pounding. The neon sign flickered, and the whole place smelled like mildew and bad decisions. I knocked on the door of the room number Ava sent me. No answer. I tried the handle, unlocked. Inside, the lights were dim, and everything looked like it hadn't been touched in years. But then, I saw it. A single piece of paper on the bed. It said, "Don't trust them. They're watching." Okay, nope. This was officially too much real-life horror for me. I turned to leave, when I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, ready to fight for my life with the only weapon I had, a pen. Because journalist. But it was Ava. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. "Ava, what is going on? Your house is empty. You disappeared. Everyone thinks you just ran away." She shook her head. "We didn't run. We were running from something." That's when she pulled up her sleeve. A strange symbol was burned into her arm, like a brand. My stomach dropped. "Ava, who did this to you?" She glanced at the window, like she expected someone to be watching. "I can't stay. I just needed you to know the truth. If anything happens to me." She pressed a USB drive into my hand. "Find out what they're hiding." And then, she was gone. Just like that. I stood there, heart racing, holding the tiny USB that somehow held all the answers. And I had two choices: walk away and pretend none of this ever happened, or plug it in and expose the truth. And obviously, I chose the truth. If you want to know what I found on that USB, you better hit like and subscribe, because trust me, you won't believe what happens next. I got home that night, my hands shaking as I stared at the tiny USB drive Ava had given me. Every part of me screamed, "Don't do this." But I ignored it, because what kind of journalist backs down from the biggest story of their life? I plugged it into my laptop. At first, nothing happened. Just a few folders with weird names like Project Eclipse and Patient 047. I clicked on the first video file. The screen flickered. Then grainy footage appeared. Ava, sitting in what looked like a hospital room, wearing a paper gown. Her hands were trembling. Someone behind the camera asked, "Do you remember what happened on June 12th? Ava swallowed hard. "No." "Good. That means the procedure worked." "What?" "The actual horror movie twist." I slammed my laptop shut. My pulse was in my throat. Ava had no memory of something huge, and whoever filmed that was happy about it. I should have stopped. I should have pretended I never saw it. But I didn't. I clicked another file. More video clips, people I didn't recognize, all in that same hospital-looking room, all being asked the same question. "Do you remember what happened?" And every time, they all said no. Something was seriously wrong here. Then a final file, a document labeled Authorized Termination Protocol, Patient 047. I clicked it. Inside, just a single line of text. Subject identified as a liability. Full erasure scheduled for March 10th. March 10th. That was tomorrow. And patient 047? That was Ava. I grabbed my phone and called her, straight to voicemail. My chest tightened. They were coming for her. I had less than 24 hours to save my best friend, and I had no idea who I was up against. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Somewhere out there, Ava was running for her life, and I was the only person who knew she was in danger. I paced my room, trying to come up with a plan. Break into a secret facility? With what? My student ID and a death wish? I needed backup. Someone smarter, stronger, less likely to get immediately caught. But who? Then it hit me. Ethan. Okay, so technically, Ethan was my ex. But he was also the biggest conspiracy theorist I knew, and if anyone could help me break into a shady organization, it was him. I texted him, "Need your help, urgent, possibly illegal, also life-threatening." He replied in 2 seconds. "Be there in 10. Classic Ethan." 10 minutes later, he was at my door, hoodie up, backpack full of who even knows what. "This better not be another one of your I need help spying on my crush missions," he said, stepping inside. I tossed the USB at him. "It's bigger than that." He plugged it in, scrolling through the files. I watched his face go from confused to horrified. "This is insane," he muttered. "Government-level memory erasure? Secret medical experiments? Mia, this is huge." "Tell me something I don't know," I shot back. "The real question is, how do we stop them?" Ethan leaned back, rubbing his jaw. "We need to find where they're keeping Ava, and I think I know how." An hour later, we were sitting in his car, parked outside a very suspicious-looking warehouse on the edge of town. "This is the address I pulled from the USB," Ethan whispered. "If they're planning to—" He swallowed. "To erase Ava, this is where they'll do it." I nodded, my stomach twisting. "Then let's get her out." Breaking in was shockingly easy, which, honestly, kind of suspicious. The front door was locked, but Ethan had lockpicks. Seriously, why did I ever break up with him? And within minutes, we were inside. Dim hallways, fluorescent lights flickering overhead. And then, a voice. "I knew you'd come." We spun around, and there she was. Ava, strapped to a chair. Heart pounding, I ran to her. "Ava, are you okay? What did they do to you?" She lifted her head slowly, and that's when I saw it. Her eyes, they weren't Ava's eyes. They were blank, cold, like she didn't recognize me at all. "Mia," she whispered. And then she smiled. Goosebumps shot up my arms. Something was very, very wrong. Ethan grabbed my arm. "Mia, we need to go. Now!" But before we could move, the lights shut off. A door slammed behind us, and a voice echoed through the darkness. "You really shouldn't have come here." The room was silent except for the hum of electricity. My pulse pounded in my ears. Ethan tightened his grip on my arm. "Ava?" My voice shook. It's Mia." She just kept smiling, that eerie, empty smile. Ethan took a step back. "Mia? That's not Ava anymore." "No." I refused to believe it. "She's in there. They did something to her, but she's still Ava." A shadow moved in the darkness. Then the voice came again. "You really should have stayed away." The lights flickered back on, and standing in the doorway was a man in a white lab coat. Tall, sharp eyes, a clipboard in one hand. Like this was just another day at the office. "Ah, Mia," he said smoothly. "And Ethan, of course. You two are persistent." I clenched my fists. "Who are you? What did you do to Ava?" He sighed, like I was some difficult child. "She's evolved, improved. We've helped her become something greater." I glanced at Ava. She wasn't tied up anymore. "When did she—" She stood slowly, rolling her shoulders like she was getting used to a new body. Then she turned to look at me. "Don't fight it, Mia," she said softly. And I knew. She wasn't my Ava anymore. My stomach twisted, but I forced my voice to stay steady. "Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me." Ethan pulled something from his backpack, a flash drive. "You guys really should upgrade your firewalls," he said, grinning. Then he jammed the flash drive into the nearest computer. Alarms blared, red lights flashed, and on every screen, files started deleting. The scientist's calm shattered. "No!" He lunged for the computer, but Ethan was already grabbing my hand. We've got about 30 seconds before security swarms this place. Run! We sprinted for the exit, but Ava, or whatever she was now, was faster. She blocked the door. Mia, don't leave, she pleaded. Stay. They can fix you too. I hesitated. For just a second. And that's when she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was too strong, like steel. Her nails dug into my wrist, her eyes cold and distant. Ava, please, I begged. You're still in there. Fight this. For a second, just a second, something flickered in her expression. A hesitation, a memory. I grabbed onto it like a lifeline. Remember all those late nights watching crime documentaries? My voice cracked. How we'd make up ridiculous theories. How you always said it was the quiet one? She blinked. I pressed on. You're my best friend. We were supposed to solve real mysteries, not... I gestured around us wildly. Not become one. Ava's fingers loosened. Ethan, still holding the flash drive, muttered, Mia? This would be a great time to run. But I wasn't leaving without her. Ava squeezed her eyes shut. They did something to me, she whispered. It's like I'm trapped in my own mind. I held her face between my hands. Then fight, Ava. You're stronger than them. Come back to me. She shuddered. Then, suddenly, she screamed. A raw, piercing sound that made the scientist flinch. And then... She turned on him. Before he could react, she snatched the flash drive from Ethan and slammed it into the nearest computer. The alarms shrieked. Files flashed across the screens, exposing everything. Ava turned back to me, breathless, eyes clear. Mia, let's go. I didn't hesitate. We ran. Ethan yanked the door open, and we sprinted into the night. Behind us, the whole facility went into chaos. The scientist yelled for security, but it was too late. The building's systems were shutting down. Their secrets, broadcasted to the world. We didn't stop running until we reached Ethan's car. We collapsed into the seats, panting. Ava clutched her head like she was finally waking up from a nightmare. Mia! I remember everything, she whispered. I reached for her hand. You're safe now, I promised. She looked at me, really looked at me, and smiled. A real, genuine Ava smile. And just like that, I had my best friend back. Like and subscribe, because this was the greatest mystery I'd ever solved. And I did it with my best friend by my side, just like we always planned.